Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L coming in with a Tsukimichi or a Moonlit fantasy anime viewer guide video. This time specifically answering the question, who does Makoto end up with in Tsukimichi? Now this is a question that people are asking on YouTube, so we're going to answer it here. Thankfully, there is an answer. It comes to us, well, in chapter 305 of the web novel. If you want to find the material that we're going to be talking about in this video, just search up the Tsukimichi web novel and chapter 305. You'll be able to find it. Of course, you can just stick to the video because I'm going to explain it to you. Who does Makoto end up with in Tsukimichi? Well, the answer is Mio and Tomoe, both of them. They're both the official girl, at least as far as chapter 305 is concerned. So here's the story. The story's been going on for 305 chapters. At this point, Makoto's been through a lot with these two girls. Makoto ultimately decides that he needs to do something and tells Mio to come to his room. Here you have a quick little transcription of what happened in the web novel. As you can see towards the bottom, it was pretty sudden for Mio here. And it was pretty cute that she responded with an absent-minded face. What follows is a bit of a cute sequence where Mio is catching on to what exactly Makoto wants. Eventually she gets it, he wants Mio in his room. Dinner happens, Makoto leaves the dining hall first and Mio follows behind him, leading to another cute sequence of hand-holding. After that, we have nice little casual things with the two reflecting on their lives together. In story, this was kind of a nice little feeling just because, yeah, acknowledge the shared history. One of the nice little things that the writer had added in here was the mention that the two didn't run out of things to talk about, just kind of boosting the good feels that was going on. Anyway, the talks continue. One thing that I found super cute next was Makoto thinking that Mio would always be by his side. At this stage, it's also worth pointing out that Mio was concerned that she would be seen as insensitive. Now, if you're looking at this transcription here, there were some interesting little things going on here. For instance, Mio being concerned about the people back in Japan, and then also Makoto pointing out that this wasn't going to be a one-night stand. I was actually really surprised that Makoto even understand the concept of a one-night stand, but here you are. Regardless, she's going to be by his side. Great that he's saying it out loud. We then get the conclusion that Makoto will not regret what he does with Mio. Looking at what the web novel had written, there are really some cute lines here, especially with Makoto telling Mio that he will treasure her more. Anyway, this whole little thing ends with a kiss and then a fade to black. So ultimately with Mio, I think this was super cute when you're reading it. And I thought this was pretty interesting just because Mio in the anime, she does seem a lot more forward and a lot more adorable with her interactions. Her being the second harem member, but being the first person that Makoto decided to go all the way with. It's actually pretty cool that the second person was the first one here. Of course, we're talking about the second person. That begs the question, what exactly happened with Tomoe? Well, the Tomoe sequence has the same kind of energy that the girl has in general. After a wonderful night with Mio, Makoto wakes up to notice that Mio is off cooking, and Tomoe is actually staring at him while he's naked. Here you have the write-up. So this leads to Makoto realizing that Tomoe was watching his and Mio's activities the night before. Tomoe of course disagrees and says that she was waiting. After this, Tomoe reveals that she had an agreement with Mio to let her have Makoto first. And in the process, she reveals that Makoto and Mio went all the way till the morning. And at that point, when you're an isekai protagonist, you have power in every arena. Are we really surprised? This leads into Makoto trying to figure out how this order of events was decided and when was it decided, and it leads to Tomoe taking advantage of Makoto in his moment of confusion. We then go into a slightly adorable bit of dialogue from Tomoe where she says that she knows Makoto loves them both equally, which is a pretty important idea for harems. Usually harems want to hit this ideal that everyone is loved so there's no real drama, especially in Tsukimichi where relationships are not necessarily the main point. You do kind of want to avoid drama, that's why you have to do this little narrative trick. Anyway, you have some pretty forward dialogue from Tomoe and the scene ends off with another fade to black, but you get an interesting monologue from Makoto. In this monologue, you see that Makoto is pointing out that he hasn't fallen in love yet, and he's pretty wishy-washy on whether he loves Tomoe and Mio. He equates them to the archery club and his high school friends even, which is just kind of, Japanese protagonist. It's funny that he says that he can't pick when it comes to people who his number one is, but this is actually pretty consistent with the character's worst traits. He is kind of wishy-washy like this in general, so in some ways it was cool to see him kind of take strides, but it's also just he has a way of just making you feel kind of disappointed about it. He does say at the end, however, that he will move forward in his own way, but then he says that life won't progress the way he thinks it will, which is just the ultimate way of saying that he's going to be a passenger in his own life. He's not the kind of character that's going to shape his future. He's the kind of character that walks down the road, and if that road takes a sudden turn, he's probably going to follow it. And in terms of how this works with the girls, it's pretty much the girls can just do whatever they want when it comes to him. The big example here being Tomoe. Anyway, after that, Mio showed up catching Tomoe and Makoto in the act, and that led to a giant fight between Mio and Tomoe, which, you know, at that point was pretty typical for them. They're all good. Anyway, that's how Makoto, Tomoe, and Mio solidified their relationships. After this, the entire Mirage City found out because Tomoe and Mio blabbed about it, and they had a giant celebration for Makoto congratulating him. Super cute. Everyone knows they're all together. Wow. Anyway, that's a really simple explanation as to what exactly happened and how they got together. It was pretty much just something that occurred after many chapters of adventuring together. It was really funny to see people who had been following the web novel just celebrating the fact that it finally happened. If you were hoping for more description, what I gave you from the web novel's translations, that's pretty much what you got. There were a few little more bits of filler dialogue, but you're not really missing too much here. Anyway, regardless, this was an isekai character solidifying his relationships. Let me know if you, as an anime viewer, kind of wish that more isekai characters were at least this forward. And also let me know if you viewers have any other questions you would like answered. Anyway, everyone, till next time, I hope you have an absolutely great day. This has been the Anime Viewer Guide video covering Tsukimichi.